Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. Greetings, my friends, and Happy New Year! What, you may ask, is it that makes this such a happy new year? I can tell you, my friends, Mickey Mouse is now in the public domain. That's right, my friends. As of January 1st, 2024, Mickey Mouse has entered the public domain, at least insofar as he is presented in Steamboat Willie, his first appearance way back in 1928.
This here's Disney right, Doomcock. They have been awful about copyright. In fact, they have been stealing from the public for a long fucking time, since the 80s, man. That's right. It was Disney that prompted the changes in copyright law that barred the public from having access to the public domain songs, movies, literature, and so on that they should rightfully have had.
This is correct, Skull of Calderon. Harvey, you and I are on the same page. Yes, my friends, Disney is the villain here. In order to stop this very thing from happening back in the 80s, they went ahead and filed repeated proposals to extend copyright law beyond the previously established boundaries way back in the day. The BBC has published an article about this called Disney's Earliest Mickey and Minnie Mouse Enter Public Domain as U.S. Copyright Expires. Now, what does that mean, folks? Well, that means that you can go ahead now and use Steamboat Willie, the actual film, in anything that you want. And what I want to do is abuse the living shit out of this garbage piece of rat to the fullest extent the law permits. And the law permits quite a bit now, but also you've got to be a little careful. How careful? Let's discuss this situation. In the article, they state, Steamboat Willie, a 1928 short film featuring early non-speaking versions of Mickey and Minnie, is widely seen as the moment that transformed Disney's fortunes and made cinema history. Their images are now available to the public in the U.S. after Disney's copyright expired. It means creatives like cartoonists can now rework and use the earliest versions of Mickey and Minnie. In fact, anyone can use those versions without permission or cost. But Disney warned that more modern versions of Mickey are still covered by copyright, and Disney has said, we will, of course, continue to protect our rights in the more modern versions of Mickey Mouse and other works that remain subject to copyright.
Yep, they're hurting. They're hurting.
Yep, Steamboat Willie, the earliest version of Mickey Mouse, is now available to be victimized. Indeed, there is already now scheduled a horror movie, much like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, that is going to basically exploit this earliest version of Mickey Mouse for horrific ends that run contrary to Disney's mission statement.
Publicly stated mission statement. I think that Disney has been a horrifying company for years now. I think that this simply strips the mask off of Mickey and reveals him to be a villainous character. Disney has been ripping off the public for all these years, since 1984, dude. We would have had access to all sorts of songs and movies and books if it weren't for Disney.
That is correct, Harvey Cthulhu. As this article states, quote, Disney has faced losing the copyright over its original cartoons several times in the past. The characters were first expected to go into the public domain in 1984, but Congress extended the term by 20 years. 20 years, folks. And then get this, before the next expiry date came up in 2024, another 20-year extension was passed.
Damn them! Damn them!
This is correct, Harvey Cthulhu. Damn them. Why is there a public domain, folks? It's important to understand this, to understand exactly how badly Disney has screwed us all. The public domain is a mechanism whereby copyrighted works become widely available for the public in general to use as they please. So in other words, a song that has been copyrighted after a certain point enters the public domain and can be sung without paying royalties or penalties by anyone, performed by anyone, shared by anyone. Why is this important in a free society? It's important because these songs, these stories, these movies, these comics, these works of art all enter into the public lexicon. They become part of the fabric of our society. And so it is in the public interest, in the interests of free speech and free discourse, for the public to be able to use those elements of their own culture that appeal to them, to expand on songs, to share songs, to take older works and use them, repurpose them in certain ways. It creates a vigorous public dialogue with our culture, with the aspects of our culture that were previously copyrighted. Copyright is an important thing, folks. It's a good thing because it ensures that hardworking artists who create things reap the financial benefits of their own creations. This is a very important thing. They can control their creations. They can get vast rewards from their creation. But this is ridiculous because in extending it twice, 20 years and then another 20 years, how much benefit should a creator get from their work? Well, they should get as much as they can get, but within a certain time limit, because at a certain point, it becomes part of the public interest and the public good for these works to enter into the public sphere. People have benefited enough from the creation of these things. The Walt Disney Company has reaped rich rewards from Mickey Mouse. But now, at last, despite every effort, despite extending copyright law protections for 40 years total, 40 extra fucking years that the Walt Disney Company has deprived the public from the advantages of using their own culture in their own ways. This is the legacy of Disney. This is vicious, manipulative theft of the public good, undermining the public's ability to love and use and share their own culture.
And so Disney deserves what they've got coming.
Yep, quote, Disney's efforts to protect its characters have even led to this law, this extension, being dubbed the Mickey Mouse Protection Act, but the moment has finally come. Jennifer Jenkins, director for the Duke Center for the Study of the Public Domain, told the BBC it was a deeply symbolic and long-awaited milestone. What that means for us is that as of 2024, anyone will be free to copy, share, and build upon those original cartoons from 1928 and the characters within them, she said. Now, what it's important to remember, however, is you've got to be very, very careful when doing this that you do not infringe on Disney's copyright of the more modern Mickey, but even more specifically on the trademark of Mickey Mouse as a brand identifier and a corporate mascot. What that means is you cannot start putting Steamboat Willie into merchandise and the same kind of products that Disney sells, because that will be essentially creating brand confusion and then Disney can come after you. So you've got to be very careful how you use this. If you rake Disney over the coals, as I urge you to do, frankly, because Disney richly deserves every humiliation, scorn, and deprivation that the public can heap upon them, you've got to be very careful to make Mickey look pretty much exactly like he did in the Steamboat Willie cartoon. I would advise putting the damn hat on him at all times. And you've got to make sure not to be selling t-shirts and merchandise with that image on it, because if you do, then they will come after you. In short, quote, more modern versions of Mickey will remain unaffected by the expiration of the Steamboat Willie copyright, And Mickey will continue to play a leading role as a global ambassador for the Walt Disney Company in our storytelling, theme park attractions, and merchandise. And the company added, it would work to safeguard against consumer confusion caused by unauthorized uses of Mickey and our other iconic characters, unquote.
But Steamboat Willie is fair game, and I think that everybody on YouTube should use Steamboat Willie shamelessly as a big thank you to Disney for screwing us out of 40 years of public domain songs, stories, and artwork that we should have had access to 40 fucking years ago.
I agree, Harvey. It is time for revenge. I urge you to pay back Disney for every ounce of cultural vandalism that they have levied upon us, all of the years of access to our own culture that they have denied us. I urge you to put this mouse through the ringer. Go ahead and bend, fold, and spindle and mutilate this piece of shit, and go ahead and take revenge for all the ills that Disney has inflicted upon you, upon your family, upon your society, and upon our culture. Ha! It looks like maybe, just maybe, 2024 is going to be a lot better than we ever thought. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, get revenge on Mickey and stay angry. Ha 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 ha.